Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to learn a HackerRank problem titled Staircase. Now let's read the question. Consider a staircase of size n equal to 4 and then observe that its base and height are both equal to n and the image is drawn using hash symbols and spaces. So what it says is, given the input of n, we need to draw this particular pattern. This pattern is made up of spaces and the hash symbol, and the number of rows and number of columns is like a kind of square matrix kind of thing, wherein the number of rows is equal to the number of columns, right? And in the first line you can observe there are some spaces followed by one hash symbol. Again in second one there are some more spaces followed by two hash symbols. Then again some spaces followed by three hash symbols, and last line there are four hash symbols. But remember, the last line does not precede with a space, right? So your job is to write a program that prints a staircase, right? So this we have seen in case if the input is 4, what to be done, and in case if the input is 6, what to be done is mentioned here. Now we have understood the question. Now let's try to solve this step by step. Now let's go back here. Now the first thing what we'll try to understand is, let us try to understand how many hash symbols to be printed in each line. Then once we understand that, then we'll see how many lines to be printed. The number of lines to be printed is basically the value of n. If n is 6, it is 6 lines to be printed. So I can call this as line number 1, right? This is my line number. This is my line number 1. This is my line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, line number 5, and this is line number 6, right? So in the first line, the number of hash symbols to be printed is 1, right? The same way second line 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can just observe that the number of hash symbols to be printed is matching with the line number, right? So let us first try to solve this problem, and then we'll try to see how do we make it instead of a left aligned towards right aligned. Now let's try to solve this in Python. So let us say the input for the program will be n. I'm going to accept the input, which is a number, the number of lines which is required. And after that, I would like to first learn how do I print a pattern. That is just one line. Assume that I want to print just n hash, one line. How do I print one line? Right? This is a code to print one line. Code to print one line of hash symbols. Right? So I in a range of, let us just say I want to print n hash symbols. So I'd like to print n hashes. And let me try to observe, is this doing my job or do I need to do any changes here? So I'd like to run the program. I'll enter the input as 5. It is printing 5 hashes, but all the hashes are not printed in the same line. So if you want to print 5 hashes in one line, so I can just say this, that it should not end with a new line. By default, it ends with a new line like this. But I don't want to end with a new line. I don't want any symbol to end with, right? So after writing this code, I'd like to go there and then rerun the code and then give the input as 5, and you can observe that we're able to print the pattern. So this is basically to print n number of hash. Now your job is to print 1 hash in the first line, 2 hashes in the second line, 3 hashes in the third line, and total number of lines is matching with n. So I'll just say line number in range of n, but line number starts with 1. So I'd like to say 1, right, to n plus 1. Okay, so this is going to print a pattern from 1 to n, wherein n is also inclusive, right? Okay. Now, once I get the line number, I'd like to print how many hashes in that line? Line number of hashes. Right? Now let's try to run this and observe, is it doing my job or some modifications are required. Let me just say 5. Yes, the number of hashes are printed, but the problem is after the first line it's again not printing a new line. After printing all the hashes, second line is not printing a new line. So after completing the inner for loop, I need to print a new line. This will do the job. So let us try to run this. Let us say 5 is the input. Right, it's working fine. Okay, but this is basically printing left aligned, so I need to do it right aligned. So right aligning is nothing but you're basically having some spaces. For better visibility, I'm going to use some other symbol instead of space. Let us say in the first one you have to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces followed by a hash symbol. Second one you need to print 4 spaces followed by hash symbol, and here we need to print 3 spaces followed by hash symbol, 2 spaces followed by hash symbol, 1 space followed by hash symbol, and finally no more spaces, or you can say 0 spaces in the last line. Now in the first line, how many? Remember, number of lines is 6. So here it is 5 spaces to be printed, right? Here it is 4 spaces to be printed, then 3, then 2, then 1, and then 0. Right? Now given the number of lines and the line number, if we can determine what should be the expression to get this, right? So number of lines is 6, right? The number of lines to be printed is 6. 6 minus 1, what is 6 minus 1? 5. Then 6 minus 2, wherein this 6 is basically the value of n. This is the line number. So once we can generate this pattern, then first print the number of spaces, then print the hash symbol. So here, before we could print the hash symbols, we need to print spaces. This is for the spaces, right? Range, how many? N minus line number, right? So I'll be printing spaces, and then it should not end with a new line character, right? Done. So let me just try to run this code, and then let me give input 5. Yes, let me try to give it as 4 or 6. My job is done. So first I need to take care of printing the spaces here, which is n minus line number, right? Then second one I need to take care of printing hashes, which is matching the line number, and line number is starting with 1, and it should even consider n value. Like for example, n is 6, so I should even go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So for that purpose I've written n plus 1. So let me just copy this code and run it in the HackerRank platform. Fine, it's working. Now let's try to submit this. Problem solved. Thank you.